The sovereignty mandate. The diagnosis of the choice not to feed the cancer. Look at any healthy system. A forest, a body, a cell. You see balance, reciprocity, parts working in complex agreement for the whole. But pull back the lens on our human world, our politics, economies, religions, any power structures, and you see something else. A system in metastatic imbalance. From this position of observation, we make a diagnostic declaration. Our social body has cancer. Not a metaphor of hate, but of biology. Literally a pattern where cells forget they are part of the whole. They attach, consume resources without reciprocity, suppress healthy function, and if left unchecked, will kill the host. This is not an opinion, it's a diagnosis, and the first most crucial step toward health is the courage to acknowledge what we see. We are taught to be deathly afraid of the word cancer. What is an automatic death sentence? A battle to be fought with poison and fire. A privilege of survival for only a few. We hear whispers of cures, and they are suppressed, of systems profiting from the fear and the fight. This is not just true of the disease in our bodies, but of the disease in our body politic. The parasitic systems around us operate on the same metabolic principle. They insert themselves as necessary middlemen, feeding on our energy, our consent and fear to grow uncontrollably. They make us believe there is no gentler cure than brutal war against disease, against each other, against ourselves. But what if we've been lied to? Not about the presence of the disease, but about the very nature of healing. I believe cancer is a normal potential in any system. It can arise when balance is lost, nothing to be afraid of. And just as it can arise, it can recede, not always through declared war, but through the relentless, intelligent restoration of health. On a micro level, this is how I approach my own body. I choose not to feed what could harm it. No processed foods, no artificial chemicals. I stick to fruits, vegetables, grains, legumes, life from the earth. I garden, I meditate, I fast. I consciously avoid these scare tactics in the news, social media, from negative people. I choose what to participate in. This is my protocol for maintaining a terrain where disease cannot easily take root. On the macro level, the same principle applies. Knowing implies responsibility. Once we see these systems for what they are, cancers feeding on the host, we cannot pretend we do not know. We may not save the world in one day, but we can choose moment by moment what we feed and what we starve. The three great cancers function identically. They metabolize our deepest human needs for their own growth. The government cancer, this is the friendly parasite. It mutated somehow from servant to master, deriving power from our consent, but demanding obedience. It feeds via the weaponized bureaucracy, dissolving your will through friction, the legal bribe, lobbying as an IV drip of corruption, the illusion of choice, the tribal trap of two identical brands, and the fear vaccine, synthetic terror traded for liberty. It demotes us from citizens to subjects, then to consumers, in that order. The corporate cancer, the psychopathic organism, this is a legal person all of a sudden, with the duty only to profit, externalizing all cost, poisoning the host, our communities, our planet, while privatizing gain. It feeds via the engineered dissatisfaction loop, making us perpetually incomplete, the data harvest, farming us as the crop, and our addiction to convenience and fear of being left behind. Then we have the spiritual cancer, the metabolic theft of meaning. It inserts itself as a sole interpreter between us and the sacred, turning a living river into a controlled canal. It feeds via the transactional God economy, selling salvation, manufacturing sin, and then they have the dogma trap, trading living revelation for a rigid certainty, and by monetizing our fear of mortality and solitude. The instinct is to fight, to cut and burn these cancers, but fighting a cancer with its own weapons often shatters the host. The more profound cure is autophagy, the body's innate ability to consume its own dysfunctional parts for fuel. Our collective task is to induce a social autophagy, not a war, but a conscience-knowing fast. The cure, withdrawal and redirection, so we stop feeding the disease and start nourishing the health of the whole body. Political and economic detox, withdraw consent, legitimacy and energy, build local networks for dispute and aid, cease compulsive consumption, call a bribe what it is, a bribe, execute a fear audit, refuse to make decisions from a place of manufactured terror, the inner tithe and direct connection, cancel the external spiritual subscription. Going to a service every week is a subscription, is it or is it not? Redirect that energy and resource inward toward your own development and outward toward your direct community and neighbors. Privilege personal experience over second-hand interpretation. These religions are second-hand. Become creators, not consumers. For every need, ask yourself, how can I create, repair, or source this within my community? This is the Creator's vow. We are not here to impose a new law, but to embody a protocol. We reach those in this frequency not by force, but by example, as instructed in ancient wisdom. Go out and share without forcing. We build a parallel, healthy system. Food and water sovereignty, revive local agriculture, energy and trade sovereignty, decentralized power, create local currency, governance and security sovereignty, local conflict resolution, mutual aid, health and education sovereignty, community wellness and learning networks. Your path and mine may differ. We are all on our own cycles, becoming at our own pace. It is good to share perspectives, to have more options, but the core is the same. See the system, know the diagnosis, and choose what to feed. The corrupt structures rely entirely on our belief in their necessity. The moment we withdraw that belief, the moment we see the bureaucracy as absurdity, the corporation as a predator, and the dogma as a cage, the entire edifice is revealed as a fragile scam, starving for the energy we once gave it. The sun shines on all. I choose light. I choose the positive action of not feeding the cancer and actively feeding the health of my body, my spirit, my community. This is the patient, unwavering work of restoration. On the other side of this collective fasting is not chaos, but the profound liberation of our natural harmony. We become the sovereign authors of a life where worth is inherent, connection is direct, and activity builds life. The truth always comes back around. Our part is to stop feeding the disease and start nourishing the cure. Here we go.